thank you everyone for coming. I was wondering if there would be attrition in the roster this morning because a lot of people might think that writing poetry or attempting to write poetry at 7 or 8 in the morning is sort of insane. But I'm grateful that you're all here, and I hope we have a little fun. Mary Grace, I have to report that as a fellow walker of many steps, I am now facing right Achilles tendon surgery, which is coming up. So, you know, my walking is going to be seriously curtailed for 6 weeks or so, except for a walking boot. I also want to just say that today is the 108th birthday of my mother, who journeyed on in 1980, but I always like to acknowledge her birthday. So it's a good day. It's always a good day, February 16th. Poetry is a letter to oneself, and it is a constant. Poetry can do anything, and I was, you know, really moved by a lot of the talk about humor in these dire times. I sympathize with everyone who has been assaulted by tricksters, fraudulent people who are attempting, yes, to steal your identity, to steal your money, to steal anything you've got, to get anything they can. And I've had the same experiences, exactly the same experiences. And it's frustrating. And one just has to, well, do whatever all of you are doing. We persevere and we find ways to move on. So I was thinking, you know, that it reminded me that, you know, there was a time, I don't always do this, but there was a time when I had the brilliant idea, in quotes, brilliant. I thought, I'm going to write limericks after meditating. Now, that's odd because, you know, most people think of limericks as they're usually bawdy, sometimes profane. They're not serious, you know, no one ever thinks of great poetry and limericks, but limericks are, you know, can touch the funny bone. Or I found limericks can actually be even about serious topics. I mean, the form is quite simple, anybody can do it. And so I started doing this after meditating. You know, I would meditate for 30 minutes and then I would, and when I wasn't yelling at my cat in the middle of the meditations, because I had a cat who would do things like sit in front of me and stare at me with his Buddha face while I was meditating. And then suddenly I would feel the pressure of a paw on my knee, realizing that, oh, well, his food bowl was empty. And the great crisis was, you know, do you continue meditating or do you just blow it off and stop and go feed the cat? And I tried to, you know, use gentle energy one day. And then, you know, suddenly I just pulled a straight Jack Nicholson and I snapped and I said, I'm meditating here. And the cat, you know, just looked at me, didn't even flinch. The cat just stayed there with his paw on my knee. And I thought, okay, I'll feed you. I mean, I totally surrendered, which is the point, surrender to the moment. Actually, that was an excellent meditation practice moment where I just gave up. And okay, I have to feed this cat. He was very happy and I felt better afterwards too, except for the Jack Nicholson moment, that felt bad. But, you know, sometimes transitions can be rough. So I wrote these, here are two of the, I put in this book, Poetry as Spiritual Practice, I put 2 of these haiku that limericks that I wrote. And this is one of them. I'll read both of them, they're very short. Where is it, Robert? Compassion. Are you distracted today by fashion? What's pretty, what's rad, what's chic, or what's bad? Where is it, Robert? Compassion. That carried me through 2 days. You know, I mean, it's good. Poetry is like a life raft, a life belt you can put around yourself, and it floats you through a lot of difficult situations. Another, each morning I ask to be open. Sometimes I pray that it's fun. Whether it is or it's not, I've got what I've got. Desire to wake up and open. That's it. I mean, nothing special, nothing exciting about that. Before we're writing, I'm setting the tone, by the way, while reading to you. And we can't go too far without poem, if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. By Emily Dickinson, of course. This is number 178. I cautious scanned my little life. I winnowed what would fade from what would last, till heads like mine should be a dreaming laid. I put the latter in a barn, the former blew away. I went one winter morning, and lo, my priceless hay was not upon the scaffold, was not upon the beam, and from a thriving farmer, a cynic I became. Whether a thief did it, whether it was the wind, whether deities guiltless, my business is to find. So I begin to ransack. How is it, hearts, with thee? Art thou within the little barn love provided thee? Poetry's business is to find, and the poet ransacks. That is exactly what a poet does. The poet ransacks everything. And everything is open to poetry. Everything is possible in poetry. Many people have these obstacles around the word poetry and the experience poetry. All the obstacles should be blown down, like the house of cards. They're not needed. Poetry does not have to be profound. Poetry has to be honest. Here is an example of a poem by an old mentor of mine, George Hitchcock, which is called Records. And you'll see by the form of poetry can be different too. If you look at this page, the poem itself is like one word per line practically. It's a very skinny poem. Records. Another Russian has returned after 2 million miles in orbit. Today, I sat motionless for 28 minutes while a butterfly folded its trembling wings and rested on my knee. So the almost unimaginable traveling in space to the minute, sitting for 28 minutes motionless as a butterfly rests on your knee. That's what poetry can do, bringing together two what we might think of as disparate concepts or experiences and making them okay. So what we need is, I'm assuming that everybody has like a journal that they can write in, or a notebook or a notepad, anything will do. Yes, we have to get some writing implements here, because if we're going to write something, we have to have something to write with and on. Or some of you can, of course, be typing into your keyboards, whichever feels most comfortable to you. So I'm giving you a minute to get ready for that, and then tell me if you're ready, when you are ready. A show of hands. Okay, Mary Grace is ready. Okay, I see people are ready. People look ready. Okay, great, perfect. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to write to the end word, the final word in a line. In other words, I'm giving you the final line in a final word in each line, and you will then write to that word. Whatever you want to write is fine. There's no right or wrong. There's no A or F. You just write. Whatever these words say to you, you do. So here are the words. Just on the far right hand side of your page, just write down these words one after the other. Okay. So the first word is father. Second word is door. The third word is mother. And the fourth word is tore, T-O-R-E. The fifth word is breeze, the breeze, you know. The sixth word is torch, T-O-R-C-H. The seventh word is ease, E-A-S-E. And the eighth word is March, March, as in the month of March. So take a few minutes to just look at those words, look at them, and welcome them as as friends coming to see you. And then put whatever you're using to write with to the page and or type, and write to the end word, each end word. Don't worry about making sense. You're not trying to make a great story. You don't have to be logical. Just write whatever comes up in you, as these words will evoke something. And for everyone, it will probably be very different what those words evoke. So let's take a few minutes to do that, and then we'll share. The brave part, sharing.
I'm sorry, is it one sentence for each word?
Yes. Well, you don't even have to think of it as a sentence. It's phrases, it's word. Yeah. It's just you're going to that end word, and then you're moving on to the next line to that end word.
Okay.
Now they can join up and make sense, or they may not. Yes.
It's kind of you can make a sentence with each word, or you can make a little story with those, but they need always to be the end of the phrase, the word, or you can mix whatever you want.
Well, you're making whatever you want, but you want to go to those end words. Those words at the end are your end words. And
it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter the order. It's not father, door, mother. No, it doesn't matter that order. You can put the order you want.
Well, that might be interesting. Try it. If that's what you're called to do it.
Okay, Robert, I don't know what you mean by end. The end of a sentence? You have 5 sentences and each word is the very last word of each sentence? Is that what you're saying?
I like to think of it as a line, because in poetry, we think in terms of lines more than sentences. So again, you don't have to be, you're not locked in by grammar, you're not locked in by syntax, you're not locked in by punctuation. All you're doing is simply writing to that end word. And then you're going down and you're writing to the next end word. And you're going down and writing to the next end word. Now it all may connect up. It all may connect up by the time you're done, or it may not. And that's okay too.
But it means
so you have Ron, did you have a question?
Yeah, the third word, please.
Oh, the third word. I'm sorry. The third word.
Mother.
Word.
Mother.
Mother. Thank you.
What's the second word then? What's the second word?
Door.
Door?
Door, yes. Door.
D-O-O-R?
D-O-O-R.
Thank you.
Okay, does everybody have the words?
Robert, I'm so sorry. I had to excuse myself, so I got 2 and 3 now, but what's 1, 4, 5?
I'm sorry, say it again.
The words, just run them.
Can I give them to you clearly from being a speaker? Okay, the first one is father. The second one is door, D-O-O-R. The third one is mother, M-O-T-H-E-R. The fourth one is towards, T-O-W-A-R-D-S. The fifth one is breeze, B-R-E-E-Z-E.
Thank you.
The next one is porch, P-O-R-C-H. The next one is ease, E-A-S-E. And the last one is march, M-A-R-C-H.
Thank you.
Okay,
Pamela?
Yeah?
That was great, but let me ask you, you said the sixth word was what?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have porch, P-O-R-C-H.
It's torch, T-O-T as in Tom, O-R-C-H.
That changes a lot of ideas. Thank you.
I know.
Great.
Torch seemed to me a little more fun.
Thank you, Robert.
Okay, thank you, Pamela. That was great.
Okay. I thought it was in hell up there.
The fourth word is towards, T-O-W-A-R-D-S?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I have Tore, T-O-R-E for the fourth word.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah, thanks.
Tore, as in I tore the sheet in half.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I apologize. Tore, T-O-R-E.
Are you ever gonna write? Or are we just gonna talk about this?
That's right, right.
Okay, silence. Nita is right. Okay, here we go.
God,
Has everyone succeeded?
No.
No, okay. Okay. Let's start sharing some of these if we may. One of the things I loved while, because I had my mic on, one of the things I loved during the whole session there, that 5 minutes was, I heard a lot of the scratching of people writing. It's a lovely sound. Much better than a military parade. So who would like to share? Melanie. Oh, you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
I'm trying.
There you go.
Trying. I want to share first because I don't want to follow anybody else. Poetry has never been my thing, but this came right away.
Perfect.
My protector father through the door, despised by mother, her heart he tore. The power of the breeze did snuff out the torch. There is no ease in the memories of March.
Wow.
Oh, very good.
It's beautiful and cathartic. Thank you. Nita. Okay, we've got several hands going, so I'm just going to, we'll get through people.
They're nice and short and quick. Though not of his loins, he was my father. Past the time he walked out her door. He'd arrived in time to save my mother, whose life like silk another man tore. Having lost his own daughter, loving me was a breeze, and he supported us in spite of the torch my mother's anger could ignite with ease. He was a good man who struggled through the march.
Ooh, wow. Nice.
Excellent. See, very different. Everybody's experience is quite different. Lavetta, and then Bonnie.
Thank you. Looking about, I located father. He sprang through the door. On the ledge dangled mother. Jethro's flute. Oh, Jethro's flute my ears did tore. Bouncing off walls did the breeze, rendering my heart with musical torch. I gasped, wondering what ease. We all joined in February's line to March.
Nice. Thank you. Perfect. All right. We have Bonnie, and then we'll go up to Jonathan.
I don't want to hear any words of my father. Why can't I freely leave through a door? I dearly love her and wish I could have been protected by my mother. My being and heart constantly tore. I could not relax and feel the breeze. I felt constantly burnt like a torch. There was no way to be or feel at ease. It had been a long, sad, draining, depleting march.
Wow. Long lines.
Wow. Wow.
Excellent. It's such great diversity. I hope you can hear the diversity. Jonathan, and then Patricia, and then Tim.
You may ask that all is well. Why, of course, says father. What are you going to do as you walk out the door? I'm going to see mother. Oh, said I. Are you going to tell her how you are the tor? Like a breeze as the torch and how at ease flows the wind in March.
Wow.
Great. Thank you. I like how you played with the word tour there. It was good. Patricia?
Inspiring, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Inspiring by your tenacity and determination, Father. You opened the door in spite of mother. My will, which she tore, but you, Dad, built it back like a breeze. Somehow you're still my torch. I feel life at ease. And like the Energizer Bunny, I march.
Okay.
You turned that very quickly. Thanks. Who was next there?
Tim.
Tim.
This is a true story. I was surprised it came out. I had a rift with my mother, went to the S training, called her one night, and we talked for 3 hours and everything healed. So here it is. I had aspired to be a good father. Going down the passageways, I found a door. It had to do with forgiving my mother because it was my heart she tore. Love and compassion right on the breeze. It can be soft and warm or hot as a torch. But in sharing my feelings, I finally felt at ease. She's dead and gone now, but still lives on like spring flowers in March.
Lovely. Nice. Thank you. Pamela.
Hello up there, Father. Will you open up the door? I was calling to my mother, but she tore the line to life. I feel a breeze getting warmer, hotter even, like a torch. With ease, my dear mother says to me, hello again, my darling. Splendid springtime is coming soon for you in March.
Nice how you really extended that last line. That was great. Good. Thank you. Anyone else? Colleen. Hi, Colleen. I'll see you Friday. She's taking a class from me. So, Colleen, you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
That's indicative of what I'm writing about. Writing this morning with ease is not what I would call a breeze. Marching to the coffee helps my energy torch. Mother and father gaily tore through the door, killing my meditation on the floor.
Okay, so you took a lot of liberties with rearranging the words, and that's fine. Anybody can do that. That's I mean, there are, again, no rules when you start going. The whole point is to go. The magic of the moving pen or pencil or the keyboard clacking. Anyone else? Dana.
All right, let's try this. Hardly a moment, but each one with my father took up residence, built a home, then he departed through the door. With animals, plants, and patience, my mother held fast to the daily routines. Each morning, she tore shards of small papers, saving one, throwing them into the breeze outside to remember father had departed. And with a torch ablaze, she lit the final shard, not with difficulty, but with ease. For she knew in a few days back through the door, father would march.
Good. I like the varied lines there. That was nice. Thank you. Anyone else? Bill.
Thank you. With well-worn habit, father opens the door. Mother walks out alone towards the porch, where a breeze sweetens the air, a torch, and a phone call. A torch far off invokes a feeling of ease on this gentle night in March.
You did very well with the unexpected interruption. I'm not sure where that phone call is coming from. It's not mine, but
if it's not the dog, it's the phone, I suppose.
I was giving a reading. I was giving a reading in New York one night, and I was reading this long poem that had a scene at the exact moment that I referred to police sirens, wailing into the scene I was reading. Right outside, and a tremendous display of police sirens took off. So it was perfect timing, It was like I paid the police department to show up at that right moment. Anyway, anyone else? That was great sharing. Oh, Rina? I see you down there. You have to, there you go.
Okay, like, I have the scribbles and I'm trying to see if I can figure this out.
Okay.
Okay, I'm missing the last two words.
Uh-oh.
If they'll come through. Okay.
They might.
And it is an experience I had as a child, that my father would come home every day with bags of fruit, and he would scream from the end of the street, come and help me, come and help me. So here's the poem. From the distance, my father called out, come, come, my bags are full, come to carry some of my, come and carry some of the goods through the door, some of my bounty through the door. Mother would roll her eyes, murmuring, look how he has to stop everything so we can give attention to the man. Her words tore through my perfect picture image of the family. As I would dash down the four flights of stairs, and I would run to greet my dad, letting the afternoon breeze play with my curls. With my little hand reaching to assist the fruit-laden sacks. Together, we would bring the goods like a victorious hero, proudly carrying a torch. Or we would bring the goods home and like a victorious hero carrying a torch. I always wondered if my help was really needed to ease the heavy load, but then again, to march alone. I get the last two words are missing. To march alone is not as much fun.
Well, there you go. You got it. Or to march alone, you could end there too. That's also good. So right. I liked how you took liberty with the words again and moved things around. Again, an exercise like this is just a prompt. It's not a jail.
Yeah.
You're not locked in. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to acknowledge that the writing of the process was interesting, but the catharsis happened when I added a line that says, and my mother rolled her eyes. Yes. And I realized it really spoke volumes of some of the tension, between them. And so it was really good for me to write it down, to acknowledge it.
Well, Raina, that was also the best line. That was really good.
Yeah, how he tore the perfect image of the family. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Dana?
Question. Did you just pick 8 words that seemed random, or were those from a poem and then you lopped off the others, and this is, how did you come up with the 8 words?
They were pretty
I like the exercise. I think the exercise really has some going for it.
Thank you. Well, I like this exercise too. The words themselves, the words were random, pretty much random. Although I would say that psychologically, they probably, obviously mean a lot to me.
But they're not the ends of a particular poem.
Oh, no. I did not eviscerate any real poem. Okay. I picked words that I liked, and obviously there's a synchronicity with father and mother, and there's a kind of editorial commentary when you get coupled door and tour. One thing I wanted to do with the words was simply build in a simple rhyme scheme, because it creates a kind of little safe box that we can sit in. And people don't have to worry about, some people, when they come to poetry, they're worried about, oh, do I have to rhyme or not? Or, blah, blah, blah. And if you just, if you put down words like this, you don't have to worry. The rhymes are there. You can do with them whatever you want. And
Robert, Sarah had her hand up too.
I'm sorry?
Sarah had her hand up.
Where is that? Oh, Sarah. Okay, and then Bill. Sarah and then Bill. Okay.
To the father who walked out the door, to the mother whose heart he tore, carried by the breeze, putting out the torch, she walked away with ease. She'll be back in March.
Beautiful.
That's really good. Painful, but maybe not so much at the end, or maybe it is. Yeah. Thank you. Bill.
Yeah, just I'm going to make a quick observation here. I often hold light and darkness. I often hold sadness and happiness in my hands, and I have a choice. We all have a choice which one to play in, and I chose to play in the happy realm with my poem. But I noticed two words that jumped out at me, which could have taken me the other direction: torch, as in tiki torch, and march, as in Charlottesville. And that just was very conscious. I was very aware of that, and I decided I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go the other route. So I chose the light instead of the dark. But I wanted, it was there. It was present for me. Thank you.
I appreciate you sharing that, because I think everybody has that experience when you're writing on your own or when you're writing to a prompt. You have choices. You come to crossroads. Of course, it's always good to remember Frost's edict to take the road less traveled. That makes all the difference. But I appreciate that, because that's the same thing. Even when I did the exercise, yes, I mean, I felt the same way, that it could be, this can be a lighter poem. You can make it cheerful, or you can wind up bearing kind of like discovering this horrible feeling inside. Yeah, that was great. Tim and then Ronald. Tim and then Ron.
Yeah, Robert, do you work with haikus? Do you like haikus?
Oh, I love haikus. I love tanka. Yeah,
great.
I mean, those are fun too, and I have exercises for that I play with. But you know, I just had to make a choice between.
Sure.
And I kind of wanted to go this way because of actually the sharing that took place before, in the hour before.
Okay.
With regard to, you know, the fear we're facing, and well, it was just a lot of, it stirred up a lot in me. And so I changed up when I wasn't sure which exercise I wanted to do this morning, but it kind of was, I picked it because of what was being shared. So, but haiku, yes, wonderful. Ron.
About 30 years ago, when we lost our daughter at 27, I started writing. And all I did was get a piece of paper or pad and put a pen in my hand, and it started to move. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and I still write. And I noticed over the last 30 years, in the last 10 years, that my writing has changed from deep darkness to lightness. And when I write, I don't think about what I'm writing. Just the pen moves on the paper. And then after I write, I can write for a half hour, I can write for an hour, I can write for 2 minutes. When I read it, it's another person has written, not me. But I've learned from my writing that I have many different characteristics that are with me and continue to change.
I love that sharing, because I feel exactly the same way. For years when I was teaching, and students would complain to me about, I can't write, I don't know what to write, I'm just blocked. And I would always say to them, take a pencil or a pen, put it to the page, and start moving your hand. Something will happen.
Yep.
And that's really all you have to do. It's very much like yoga, you know. I mean, my yoga teacher always says, the hardest thing is just show up on the mat. You know, when you show up Mary Grace was talking about the same thing, going to the gym every morning. You don't want to, you know. It's very hard to make that drop onto the mat a lot of mornings. But if you just do it, once you're there, you're fine. But that's the hard thing. The other interesting point you made was about writing, the writing changing from darkness to light. And I find that beautiful, because, well, what it says is you've journeyed through all of your darkness, a lot of your darkness. And what is there in the end? That's how the light gets in, as Leonard Cohen put it. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And we have to go through all the surrounding environment of the, you know, what's dark. And then we find that lighter being, the lightness of being. That's true. Anyone else? Well, I was going to do another one, but obviously, I know, Michael, we don't have time. We're running out of time. So, but I want to throw this out. This is a kind of
Robert, we're at 8:43. We have another 7 minutes before we end the session. So
okay. Well, I want to talk then about it's still not enough time to do another full exercise, obviously, and share, but there is time to give you a prompt, kind of. But this is a subject prompt. And what I like about the subject prompt is, well, I was having a discussion last night with someone about the difference between mercy and forgiveness. The difference between mercy and forgiveness. It kind of spun off of the difference between justice and forgiveness. Because we were talking about Judaism. My friend is a practicing Jew, and she said, well, Jews forgiveness is not a high priority for Jews, which is not to say we don't forgive, but the high priority for us is justice. Now, if we can forgive, we will, but it's not as high a priority as justice. And I thought that was, of course, was interesting. It is a little at odds with my, hybrid Pagan, Catholic, and Buddhist training. But, having discovered fairly recently that my mother's parents were Jewish, now I have to really think about embracing Judaism in a way that I haven't in the past. And so this discussion was very interesting to me. But so we segued from justice to mercy. And she found that interesting. She said, oh, well, mercy is, isn't mercy the same as forgiveness? And I said, I thought not. So the question would be to write a poem, write about that, just put justice here, mercy here, and think of them as two entities. They could be two people, or they could be two buildings, two things, country, whatever, and write about each of them. And it would be very interesting to see what you come up with. In fact, if you come up with anything, you can email me and send it to me. I would love that. So, yeah, Ron.
I disagree with her interpretation of Judaism. She's totally wrong.
Well, and yes, that's quite possible. I wasn't clear enough on that to argue with her, but I believe you that there are certainly practicing Jews who would disagree with that category, that kind of categorization of this is what we believe in and we don't believe in that so much. I agree, but that's worth writing about.
Absolutely.
And so, but to me, the key difference is mercy different than forgiveness? The first thing I guess we ought to have to do, you'd have to accept that. Or maybe in the writing about them, you would find out they are the same. You would find the common ground. But that seemed to me to be a really good exercise, which is something I want to do. And so I'm throwing it out to all of you as a kind of, I hate the word homework, of course. It's something you can take along next into your journal or your workbook and play with and see if you can come up with something that would be interesting that you like. Send it to me. If you want, share it with me, and I'll share what I come up with if I come up with something that I can share. That sounds very confusing almost, but that's something that would be good to do. Also, there are many other exercises and prompts that you can discover for yourself in writing poetry. But the important thing is to write the poetry. Come up to the page as you come up to the mat, as you come into the gym, as you have to make dinner. It really is a practice, and it's a practice that is infinitely rewarding because it will deepen your spiritual practice. And it will open the world up for you in ways that the world may be closed at this moment, in this area or that area. So I just encourage everybody to find your way, experiment, and share with one another, because, you know, poetry can also be communal at a certain point. Obviously, the writing is solitary, but the sharing, as we just saw, was the best part in many ways. All of you sharing and talking about this experience, it was enlivening and enriching to me, and I hope to all of you, or most of you. Lavetta is saying so. So I'm. So yeah, I mean, it's these are good things to do, and groups can do that. You know, it's sad that we can't be getting back. You know, we can't all get together in a room and do this, because then it's a lot of fun. But this is pretty fun too. So, thank you.